Welcome to the podcast. I'm pretty sure we're going to shit as a society. You know, I wish I would have traveled more. I mean, not that I'm 80 years old and never going to travel, but I'm really curious to see the trash in other countries. And by trash, I don't mean physical garbage. I mean the trashy people. Like, I wonder where we rank on the scale of trashy. Like, how trashy is our trash? And by trash, I just mean white trash, rednecks, the stereotypical ghetto people. Wow, how white did I just sound right there? The stereotypical ghetto people. Ghetto people. That was bad. But basically, the uneducated, non-classy, just shitty people of every ethnic group. I'm curious where we rank as a whole compared to other Western nations. Like, how bad are we compared to Italy's trash, or England or Ireland? Like, how bad are they? Because today, what I saw, not that I haven't seen anything like this before, but today what I saw was just, it just reminded me, like, we're like a step closer to the movie Idiocracy. And I just, more and more and more and more, I think we're just becoming this nation of unsophisticated, just trashy, shitty people. Maybe I'm getting older. Again, maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm becoming a Scrooge. I don't know. Probably a little bit. But anyway, I had taken my father today for a medical procedure. And I'm waiting in the waiting room. And there's a family there. A white trash family, if you will. And the mother, who was clearly the head of the family, not just because of her size, but she seemed to be the one who takes charge, but she's a big one. She's big and sloppy. And look, I have no hatred toward fat people or anything like that. It's just, it's one of those things when you see it, it's more a symptom of who that person is rather than the fact, oh, they're just a fat person. You know, I was a fat person at one point. They're just fat people. You know, and it's even like ugly people. You look at someone who's ugly, and if they're like a good person, they're smart, they're educated, they're well kept, you know, they're not well kept? Well kept? I got that wrong. I don't know. You know, they're just ugly, but they're not shitty people. But then when you have like a really shitty person who's ugly, that ugliness is like, holy fuck, that's an ugly person. You know, it's just the way I just think it's the way we view people. I don't think that's just me. It's the shitty things about physicality, the shallow things stand out more when a person is shitty. But anyway, this woman, so it was a woman, her husband, I'm guessing, or boyfriend, whatever he was, and some other female relative of the family, and their kids are there in the waiting office. First off, they let these kids just run around screaming and yelling, playing with their toys, and now I really do sound like a Scrooge. Hey, they're playing. These kids are making noise. But you're in a surgical center. You know, it's not like you're at a playground. There are people, you know, I'm sitting there freaking out because I'm worried about my father. There are other people there who are there for themselves they just want to wait in silence. They want to wait. They don't want to, you know, they're scared for their lives, for tests they're going for. And you're dealing with these asshole kids, with the asshole family. You know, it's just like people who let their kids run around in restaurants, and then they'll get mad if someone knocks into them or the kid trips on somebody. They'll get mad at that person. Not that you weren't the asshole, the other person was. Anyway, kids are running around. And at one point, the mother gets up, and not only is she just slovenly and sloppy, you know, everything, she's wearing clothing, everything's hanging out, and it's not attractive. Just every roll, every disgusting piece is just like bulging, spilling over like biscuit dough. And she picks up one of the kids and she starts burping as she's walking, like not even holding it in. Like she let out like 3 burps. 3. Maybe it was 2. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But it was more than 1. but like loudly. It wasn't like discreet, like she put her hand over her mouth. Like, look, we all sometimes have an accidental burp that just falls out, but they were spaced out. And she's speaking with such vulgarity. There are families in this place. Again, it's a sensitive environment when you're dealing in the medical arena. You're in a medical office. It's sensitive. Like, do these people have no tact? Like, how trashy can you possibly be raised to act like that? And for 1 second, it makes me think maybe eugenics isn't a bad thing. Of course, my people would have been wiped out. Well, almost were. But I definitely, look, I wouldn't have made the cut in eugenics. Unless they went strictly by IQ points. I'd probably be on the cusp then. But, because I'm sure I'm only maybe a little more than average IQ. Yeah, I mean, it just, and I don't believe in eugenics. I'm not a racist person. I'm not a bigoted person. And I mean, racist, these were white people. They were just gross. They were white trash. And it just, I watch this, and it's like, I see this kind of behavior on a daily basis. It's terrible. We're so close to Idiocracy, to the movie, and for those of you who haven't seen it, it isn't even so much that it's a good movie. Truthfully, it's not a good movie. It's funny, it has its funny moments, but it's a scary movie because of how real our society, the reality of how close we are moving as a society to that movie. There are definitely some funny moments. I mean, it's worth watching, but it's like, this was just gross. She's burping, she's cursing. So I wonder, like, I would almost want to go on a tour, a trash tour of Europe to see how the other trash live. Because I'm really curious, are we the worst? Or maybe we're the same. Like, maybe trash is trash wherever you go. But I almost feel like that other people's white trash is not nearly as bad as ours. But it's just more and more as I walk through life or in social situations where I see people behave just so shitty. And I curse like a fucking sailor. But the thing is, when I'm out with my friends, when I'm at a bar or I'm out somewhere, if I'm at a restaurant, if I'm at a mall, if I'm at a supermarket, if I'm at a drugstore, if I'm in basic places where there are children, where there are people who just don't want to hear cursing, I don't curse. I watch my language. But it's just people in these situations, they don't care. And they do it in front of their children, too. It's like you're teaching the children that it's okay to do this shit. And it just makes me mad. And people, just the way... Okay, so I was in a restaurant the other day. Not like a sit-down restaurant, like a takeout type restaurant where you can eat. And this dude had his music on, his phone, playing it out loud. And it's like, I want to look like, dude, nobody gives a shit about what you're listening to. Like, I wanted to shake this guy. Of course I didn't, because he looked much scarier than me. And, but it's like, nobody wants to hear your shitty music. A cell phone is not a stereo. Yes, it has a speaker. It's not a stereo. There's a reason why there's a headphone jack for assholes like you who want to play their music in public. I just... And it's not the first time I've seen this. Like, I've seen people walking on the streets, as opposed to flying, walking on the streets, or, instead of skipping, holding their phone and kind of moving to the music and playing it loud. It's such a look at me thing. It's like nobody cares. Really, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. No one wants, and not only does nobody care, nobody wants to hear your music. Nobody. I promise you, nobody wants to hear it. And if there's anyone else who wants to hear that music, they're probably an asshole too. Pretty much plain and simple. But yeah, this was a quick podcast for today. I had to rant about that. It was just so disturbing to me just to see people behave. Like, I really want to do a comparison of other people's trash.